healthy ways, successful ways to suppress your appetite. I'm going to be sharing 4 of them with you today, so grab a mug of your favorite beverage and join me for today's Nutrition Coffee Chat. And while you're at it, click the subscribe button below and the little notification bell so that you never miss a video. Okay, so you're looking to lose some weight, which means eating less, which means you're going to be hungry all the time, which means you need to suppress your appetite. That's the common thinking and what clients come to me saying. And I have great track record with helping them to healthfully lose weight and keep it off. And so if you're thinking that that's the way it goes, that you want to lose weight, so you need to eat less, so you're going to be hungry all the time, so you need to suppress your appetite, let's break it down, because what I help our clients do, and I'm sharing with you today, is how to harness and really master the science of nutrition, the psychology of our food choices, as well as the science of behavior change. Because that's what you got to do to create healthy weight that you stick at. So, breaking down, suppressing our appetite. Okay, well, what is appetite? Appetite is, for us human beings, what drives us. We can call it hunger, we can call it appetite, but it's what focuses our attention on going after, seeking, and eating food in order to keep us alive, right? I mean, in its basic form, that's what it is. And it's a good thing, right? That's how we've been successful as a species. It drives us to seek food and eat it. And yet in our world now, with fast food everywhere, it seems like it's not a good thing. But let's look at it like that human behavior drive, that thing that keeps us alive, right? Like breathing. Let's use breathing as another example. So when we have this need to breathe, right, it keeps us alive. But when we're swimming underwater, we get that feeling we need to breathe. We pop our head up and we breathe. And yet when we look at people who are swimmers, like competitive swimmers, or people who are free divers, they learn how to not breathe as often, right? And it's not by learning to suppress their need to breathe. They do it by increasing their lung capacity, by increasing their body's ability to go longer without breathing. And so it's not by working against their body, by suppressing something, it's by working with their body's capacity. And so I want to take this approach with appetite, because we look at appetite in our world, our culture, as being a negative thing, something we need to battle against, right? And if you come thinking that it makes a lot of sense, because that's what our culture teaches us. It means, we can call it our culture, we can call it, some people call it diet culture, but that's what we've learned, right? So it just means that you've been a good student. You've believed, you've taken in and repeated what you've been taught. However, just because something is commonly said doesn't mean it's necessarily true. And the way that I'm so successful with working with people to have weight loss and keep it off is that we don't work against our body, we work with our body. And so it's not about suppressing appetite, it's about eating in a way that satisfies our hunger and keeps us satisfied for longer. It seems like a subtle difference, but it's quite an important difference of approach. And so, yeah, it doesn't mean that you need to either choose to be at an unhealthy weight or choose to be hungry. That's not really the choice. There's a third choice in there, in that we learn to work with our body to eat in a way that satisfies our hunger and keeps us full longer, so that we can create healthy weight loss. And so it's that third choice that I'm encouraging you to take here, and that I'm sharing those 4 tips around. So what is our first tip? It's to eat in a way that keeps you hungry. It keeps you satisfied longer. It keeps hunger at bay longer. And so what you want to do, different types of foods keep us full for different lengths of time. So you want to be choosing foods that keep you full longer. So foods with lots of fiber, so things like beans and lentils, whole grains, vegetables, they keep us full for kind of 2 hours-ish, a little bit longer period of time. protein-rich foods keep us full even longer, more into the 2-3 hour period of time. So those are things like meat, poultry, seafood, eggs, nuts and seeds, beans and lentils, soy foods. Those foods that are rich in protein keep us full longer. And the foods that keep us full the longest are fat. Fat keeps us full the longest. That's how you get to eat in a way that keeps you satisfied for a good 4 hours. And so foods that are rich in fat, things like nuts and seeds, fatty fish, added oils like olive oil, coconut, avocado, these foods keep us full for up to those 4 hours. So making choices when you are eating to include fiber, protein, and fat, that'll keep you full for that 4 hours until you're hungry again. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is hydration. There's 2 aspects to this. One is that thirst and hunger are very similar sensations. And so often when you're thirsty, you actually think you're hungry, and so you're eating and again and again and again. I often find this for folks who are often eating like fruit all day long, because fruit is really quite juicy. And so it's not actually that you're hungry, it's that you're thirsty. And so making sure that you're adequately hydrated can help make sure you're not overeating. And the amount of hydration you need really varies from person to person, but assuming you're moderately active, and it's related to the body size and muscularity. So I'll give a couple of benchmarks, but it's not truly a gendered thing. So if you're the average size and shape and muscularity of the average woman, I recommend around 9 cups of fluids a day. And if you're the average size and muscularity of the average size guy, then I'm going to recommend around 13 cups of fluids a day. Those are some benchmarks there to make sure you're adequately hydrated so that you're not nibbling instead when you're actually thirsty. The other aspect of hydration is that when we drink liquids with our food, and when we eat foods that have more fluids in them, we fill up without eating as many calories. So having something to drink, some water right at the beginning of your meal, can help you eat less. And also choosing things like soups and lots of crunchy vegetables can really help satisfy your hunger without eating as much food. So hydration is the second tip. The third tip is to make sure you're only eating when you're actually physiologically hungry. Right? I'm talking about cravings, emotional eating, different learned times of eating when you're not actually hungry. That's something we need to tackle. And so I have a whole YouTube video series on correctly identifying your cravings, the source of them, and steps to take for them. And I'll include links in the description box below to all of those videos so that you can be making sure, am I eating because I'm actually hungry, or is there something else going on here? So that's going to be a major source of making sure that it's not really suppressing appetite, but it's making sure you're only eating because you're hungry, not because of other reasons. And then the fourth tip is to slow down, tune in, and chew your food well. The feeling of satiety, which is the scientific term for feeling satisfied or full, is really quite a complicated physiological process. And one of the aspects, one of the signals that helps tell our bodies that we're satisfied is the act of chewing. And yet it's so common to really be zoned out, mindlessly eating, and barely even chew our food. Like we wolf it down, barely even chew it. If that's you, give a little hands up and hey, share that little yep, that's me in the comment section below. Because you know what? The first step to creating change is to recognize that there's a problem. So share in the comment section below, yeah, I totally eat super fast, barely chew my food, or yeah, I'm so prone to sitting at my computer, munching away, staring at the TV, at the Netflix, munching away, and not tuning into my food. So that definitely can mean that we don't even notice that we're satisfied. We haven't given our body that chance to recognize and get the stimulus and recognize the signals that we are satisfied. So again, it's not really about suppressing appetite, but it's giving ourselves an opportunity to notice it. And so choosing foods that you need to chew well versus like a smoothie or drinking soda or pop or juices, we're not going to get that stimulation of chewing. So taking the time to chew your food well, stopping the distractions, turning off the screens, tuning in to the food that you're experiencing so that you can get that full experience, can give yourself the opportunity to notice that you're satisfied. So those are my 4 tips for suppressing appetite, but really it's about satisfying our hunger and keeping us full for longer. Eating foods with fiber, fat, and protein, making sure you're well hydrated, having water and water-full foods at your meals, making sure you're only eating because you're physiologically hungry and not eating for other craving reasons, and then slowing down and tuning in. If you liked today's video, let me know. Click the thumbs up button. If you haven't yet, click the subscription button and the notification bell so that you get everything you need to create healthy eating habits that stick. And check out the videos here with different ways to tackle your cravings. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Thursday morning.